did this then turn into this new event that you want to hold in Zambia?
Now, that's a good question. So last year, I was asked to keynote, and one of the things that most of Zambians do is we don't like to put ourselves out there, right?
This is to
There are
keynote
many.
the one in Atlanta.
This was in actually it was in Las Vegas. It was another
Oh, okay.
organization that was putting on an event, and they asked if I would keynote, and I
Yes.
respectfully declined. And they came back and said, "How can you decline when you aren't getting your story out there? So how do you expect other people?" And I realized that there are Zambians that are out here that prefer not to talk about their accomplishments or prefer not to talk about their journeys. And I said to myself, here I am talking about leadership, and I'm talking about getting comfortable, being uncomfortable. And because I'm uncomfortable, I'm saying no. So I
You're
said,
saying no.
you need to rethink this. So I went ahead and I did my little keynote speak. And after that, I got a lot of, can you mentor me? Can you talk to us? And I realized, well, it's not just me. There are other Zambians that I am aware of, that I've been connected to, that can come together and we can really start talking about what our journeys have been and coming back to being able to own our own narrative. And at the same time, August 12th, we had a new president. Our new president said that the diaspora are going to be the 11th province. So we thought about, well, we can kill two birds with one stone. One, we can start rallying together the diaspora. And then two, we can really start showcasing our Zambian successes. So at the event, we leveraged the Irish story. In Ireland, there are 5 million Irish people in Ireland, but there's 70 million Irish people outside of Ireland.
Phenomenal.
Influence the economy, I know. And then Ghana, everybody's very familiar with the year of the return, where the president said, come back to Ghana. They raised over $1 billion. So we were thinking about, let's leverage what these other countries have done, and we can help fast track the diaspora policy. In fact, Tanya, that's how you and I met, if you remember. I was in Zambia at one of our trainings, and it was the same time that you were handed over as chair of the diaspora policy. Yeah. And Caesar said, you have to meet Tanya. And that's what drove us to meet, because I'm all about collaboration. So we looked at that as an opportunity, and we had this event in December, and it was Shifting Mindsets to Ignite Growth. And after that, it was almost like, you can't just have this event. You have to think about what we can do with it. And that led us to presenting the proposal to our ambassador in Washington, D.C., who endorsed it. We presented it to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Zambia. They endorsed it, and now it is at State House waiting for an invitation to the president for him to come in. The whole opportunity here is twofold. One is, how can we help influence and update the diaspora policy that was written in 2019, pre-COVID, right? Because COVID has sort of like changed the dynamics of how we do business. And then secondly is, how can we fast track to help bring the diaspora engagement, to help from a financial perspective, from a knowledge perspective, from a cultural perspective, from a tourist perspective. There's so many different levers. But one can say, to date, Zambian diaspora has never been unified in engaging in the country's development. And so that's what this event in July is all about.
I totally agree. There's a huge, what irritates me is that we all speak in our own parts of the world, and we all talk about what's wrong with Zambia, right? But like, nobody's doing the thing to well, a few people are, but if we made more of a concerted effort to come together, realize the benefits of what is in the policy, then the likelihood is we can start to take advantage and take advantage for what we need, and to support the country, in that change and growth. And it's like, I get tired of, stop complaining about what's wrong with it. Go fix it. If you think you can fix it, go fix it. Otherwise, stop talking.
Yeah, Tanya, it's so funny because I've been speaking to some people, and they have they're like, why would I come? I said, actually, we don't want you there. We want people that are change agents. We want people that are putting their egos aside, because egos come into the way of getting things done. So it's that like-minded person who is interested in showcasing Zambia. the time is past where you sit back and become an armchair critic, and the time has passed where you just complain about things. The time is here today where we can in mass come together, because we do each respectfully, individually do different events to give back.
Yeah.
But when you bring this like-minded approach, then you will see the difference. And I was speaking with
It's a
Natasha.
more powerful organization.
Absolutely. Yeah. I
Sorry,
actually
carry on.
spoke to Natasha, and I said, Natasha, through her Diaspora Connect, and I said, Natasha, what do you think we as people in the diaspora can do better? And she says, you guys need to work together. And this is what we're talking about. It's for
Mm.
all of us to come together, work together, and really see how we can make those changes in Zambia, because we can't wait for government. Government
We
isn't going
shouldn't have
to
to wait for government.
yeah.
The world these days is not about government. Like it's about entrepreneurship more than anything. And what you do, the government aids where they can, but you don't rely on the government to bake the bread for you. Like you have to do something. Frida, a little bit more detail about the event. How are you rolling it out? Is it like is it a 1 day event? Is it what how did you pull the plans together for that?
Great question. So we have a team of passionate Zambians that talked about what and how should we roll it out. The Avani, Royal Livingstone, Laurie Burr, the general manager, have been very cooperative in terms of providing the venue to us at a economical rate. And the way that we have positioned this is going to be 3 days of the conference. Day one is all about mind shifts and shifting our mindsets. And it starts out with really understanding colonialism, how
Mm.
colonialism has impacted the way that we think, our inferiority complex on what we can do as people, as well as where we are today. And then we segue into understanding what's the value proposition for us to shift our mindset. And then we talk as well about the relationship between the diaspora and the local Zambians. We know that's a big elephant, and nobody really has talked about what are the myths that prevent us from working together and building trust with each other. And this is
And
really
from both sides,
and
not
from
just
both
one.
sides, absolutely, from both sides. And then we also have an opportunity for ambassadors to really weigh in and talk about their experiences where they have seen diaspora engagement, successful diaspora engagement. And then we will end the day with really the call to action for shifting our mindsets. Then we have a networking. Every day is going to have a cocktail hour. Day two, we segue from really the call to action on shifting our mindsets to the entrepreneurial opportunities,
Mhm.
understanding the ease of doing business in Zambia, understanding the rule of law and the shift that is needed in order for us to think beyond corruption and think beyond what we need to do to give investors the confidence, right? Because an investor is really interested in the ROI.
Frida,
And
I'm
we
getting goosebumps here, and I'm like, come on, let's go. I'm excited. Sorry, carry on. Yes.
yeah. And then we're going to have we've engaged like Elias Chipam. I'm going to do some name dropping to give you
Of
guys an
course.
idea as
Yeah.
to who's going to be there. Elias Chipemo, from mentoring, from really understanding, this is where we need to go. If you have not read Pathways, Zambia Pathways to Excellence by Vachisanga Puta, that book is phenomenal. It has all the
Okay.
ingredients, right? And then other names that are coming to the table are like Caesar. Caesar is going to be there. Sia Siwale. Bamulenga Kapwepo is going to be there as well. And then we also have Her Worship the Mayor talking about Livingstone, right? And what are the opportunities in Livingstone and
Nice.
really entrepreneurial successes that like Bongo Hive has had and what they have seen as the necessary shift in mindset that's needed.
Mm.
Um, and we end up that day with Culture Night and talking about collaboration. My Zambia, My Responsibility, Chisoma Lombe is owning that evening because we
Okay.
have to come back to celebrating our culture. The day three is really where we're going to give our participants an opportunity to explore Livingstone. As everybody knows, Livingstone has been hard hit with Corona. So the revenues for our people, our vendors, as well as the sports activities. People can do bungee jumping, they can do planes, it'll be an afternoon of activities. And then in the evening, we have a black tie event. And at this black tie event, we want to recognize Zambians that have put Zambia on the map that have never been rewarded and recognized. For example, Kalusha Walia, Lukwesa Barak, Samson Mutete. It's Zambians that we know have put Zambian on the map. There's some people that put their name out there versus the country, and there's some that put the country out there versus their name. So we want to recognize and acknowledge them while they're still living, right? Because a lot of times as we wait until they die, then it's like,
suddenly, look, they were fantastic. Why don't you tell them when they were alive,
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then we have Zambian artists that will come into town as well. There's a lady, Sylvia Chiviliti, who first Zambian to be on American Idol. Was top 30, and she's going to come out there and do her thing as well. She hasn't been in Zambia in like 20, 25 years. But our whole goal is to bring like-minded people together and really talk about the strategy to showcasing Zambia as well as promoting diaspora engagement. And one of the outcomes that we want is to have a blueprint. So this is not a one-time event. This happens over and over again where we continue driving diaspora engagement. So that's a little bit of a summary of those 3 days.
It sounds really good. It sounds really good. Are you having like a vendor showcase, or do you what when people attend, what do you want them to do? Like what's rather than just like ingesting, what other type of participation do you want people to kind of, I don't know, take part in?
No, absolutely. The one thing that thank you so much, Tanya, for introducing me to Mwai. Mwai and I and our team have been talking about this as it relates to what are we really trying to do. And if you haven't watched Mwai on one of Tanya's podcasts, you have to watch it. I'm all about Zambians that showcase excellence, not the ones that talk about it, but the ones that showcase it. And Mwai is one of those people. So it was just delightful to meet her. And we've been discussing the experience. You remember how Maya Angelou says, it's not what you say.
100%. It's how you make them
how
feel.
you make people feel.
Yeah.
We want this event.
Goosebumps.
Yes, this event is planned by Zambians, for Zambians and friends of Zambia. But when you speak about who's putting this together, we as Zambians have never really had an opportunity to do something like this, bring in brilliant minds in a experience, because that is what's going to push us forward. So we are going to be open to vendors. I mean, there's a lot to be done, and we have split responsibilities with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs as well, because they are not only endorsing it, but have put together a team to make this experience as well. And it also helps us to start showcasing public-private partnerships, but private-private partnerships as well. So a lot of Zambians that are in influential places are coming to this event from the states that I know of, as well as the UK. We have been able to collaborate with the Zambian together, and they are on board, and we are bringing on board the South Africans as well. And we've also been speaking with the Zambian organization in Cote d'Ivoire. So we are really embracing for all Zambians to come to Livingstone on July 6, 7, and 8, which happens to be the same week as Heroes and Unity. And there is no trade fair, but we are going to have this conference.
It sounds formidable. I'm really excited by it. If I wanted to, I know like maybe you're still not quite there yet, but if I wanted to show interest, or what should people do to reach out to you?
Perfect.
When are you taking reservations? Have you started that process? Let me know. Assume you're not.
Yeah, we are working through a link. We have a website. We haven't yet launched it, but we should launch the next few days. It's called shiftingmindset.org. And we will have all the information on the speakers, the agenda, and you'll be able to buy tickets to the conference, as well as we are working with the hotel to get a link so that you can book your rooms at the Avani. We've been able to negotiate some really good deals because the Avani and the Royal Livingstone also see this as a change for Zambia in terms of how we do these things.
I mean, a shout out to them as well, really. They are so supportive of a lot of events. They don't just look at the bottom line. They look at like, what is this going to deliver? You know, what impact could it have? So shout out to them. They are an amazing company. Or the people that are working there, definitely they are amazing. So
yeah, no, they've been phenomenal. They've been
yeah.
phenomenal. Yeah.
I'll add the link when you get it. I'll add the link with all the stuff that I'm putting out with this. So that's really good.